Good morning. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Hard to believe it's another Monday. Hope you are excited to attack the week. Today, we are going to talk about how a company made a mistake, a rebrand mistake, and it cost them more than $30 million. We're going to talk about that mistake today, what we can take away from it. But before we do that, I'm going to cue this intro, and I will see you on the other side.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
What is up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in on this Monday Mindset. I want to read for you guys a Michael Jordan quote. It's actually one of my favorite quotes because this is Monday Mindset. We want to get our mind right. And I want to read you one of these quotes before we get into this whole debacle that this company did with their rebrand that cost them $30 million, which is crazy. And there's a lot of good takeaways I think we can take from it. I'm actually coming at you from a recording right now. So if I don't call out your comments, that's why. But if the normal people are tuning in, appreciate you guys right now. I'm actually on a plane to California. Wish me luck. I'm going out to a conference in California and hopefully to gain a bunch of new clients and do our thing. Here's the Michael Jordan quote. He's the GOAT, right? Best of all time. At least I believe that in basketball. He said this. He said, practice like you've never won. Perform like you've never lost. And I love that quote because it embodies everything that it means to be a champion. Practice like you've never won, perform like you've never lost. Meaning, when you show up to that game, right, you have to show up with the respect, meaning, man, do I even deserve to be here? I've never won a game. That type of intentionality, that type of effort, that type of drive where you are playing your heart out, you're leaving it all on the field, as they say. But at the same time, when you show up to that court, you have to perform with a confidence that you've never lost a game, a confidence that you can take the final shot, right? The famous story of Michael Jordan in the little huddle, right, with a few seconds left, and they're developing this whole strategy. And Michael Jordan looks at the coach and goes, Coach, what are you talking about? Give me the ball. You have to perform with that level of confidence. And I believe that really embodies not only what it means to be a champion, it embodies what it means to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, a salesperson. You have to treat every deal like you've never won a deal. You're putting so much effort into the deal to close your first deal, but you have to pitch, you have to present, you have to go at it with a confidence that you actually deserve to be there, that you don't lose, right? That's what gets people to buy from you, is your confidence, because your confidence reflects competence, meaning the more confident you display your abilities, the more competent people think you are. And people want to buy in psychology from people they look up to. They don't want to buy from people that they look at or look down upon. They want to buy from someone they think can take them from point A to point B, and they're hoping that you can be that person. So that is my quote of the day to get your mindset right. Here is the story I want to share with you about a company that did a rebrand, and they lost $30+ million in this rebrand. Maybe you've heard about them. They've actually been around for 60 years, probably in every grocery store, definitely in some of your grocery stores right next to you. And you've probably had this before at breakfast. And so you probably can't think of what I'm talking about yet, but the company is Tropicana. So Tropicana orange juice, have you ever had it before? Chat in if you've had it before. Got to get a little interaction here, right, to drive the engagement so more people see this video in the group. But Tropicana launched a rebrand campaign where they did a rebrand of their carton, which holds the orange juice. And in 2009, they did this rebrand, and it actually was an utter failure. Not because they did a bad design, right? The design was fine. I'm sure most of us would look at the design of the carton. I wish I had a picture of it and show it and go, oh, yeah, that's a good carton. But the problem was customers actually were going into the store, and the complaints they started to receive was customers couldn't find Tropicana anymore on the shelf. Tropicana was still in the same place, still had the same shelf space, but customers couldn't find it, and their sales plummeted by like 20-something%. They lost millions and millions of dollars from rebranding their carton, and then they changed back, of course, to try to earn back the customers. So what is the mistake that they made? Well, the biggest mistake, and the first lesson I think we can take away from it, is your most valuable feedback, your most valuable consultant. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for consultants. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for coaches. Your most valuable consultant, even your coach for your business from a marketing and branding perspective, is your customer. And Tropicana failed to consult with their customers in this rebrand. So much so that they failed to realize that people weren't finding Tropicana on the shelf because of the name Tropicana. The consumer had become so ingrained with the brand and the design and the colors of how that carton looked. That's how they were locating it on the grocery store shelf. So Tropicana had lost touch with who their customer was, but more importantly, how their customer perceived their brand. Here's a valuable lesson for you, right? Branding is everything. You hear me often say that if you want to get rich, do direct response. If you want to get wealthy, build a brand, right? You don't see the Nikes of the world, the Louis Vuittons of the world having to constantly buy leads, right? They've ultimately built a brand where people come to them. How amazing would it be if you built a business that attracted business, where you didn't just have to pound the pavement? Pounding the pavement's good. You guys know I have 100+ callers on the phone, cold calling all day long. I'm all about grinding it out. But ultimately, why do we do content? Why do we do our products the way we do them and market the way we do it? We want to build a brand where people come to us, where they know, like, and trust us, and it attracts. And so you have a brand. The question is, are you controlling the narrative of that brand, or are you letting the consumer control the narrative of that brand? A great exercise for you this week would be to call some of your past clients and ask them, hey, when I ask you about my brand, right, just say your company name. Hey, Reminder Media, what comes to mind? What do you think of when you think of Reminder Media? And write down what they say. Man, that's worth gold. That's better than a consultant for you right now. Call 5, 10 of your past clients and go, hey, when I say my company name, what do you think of? When you think of working with me, what comes to mind? When you think of why you like working with me, why do you like working with me? Put that down on paper. It will teach you about how consumers perceive your brand, and hopefully it's a good thing, and you can lean into that and double down and tweak your messaging to be around that same messaging. So that is an incredibly valuable lesson that Tropicana forgot to consult their clients, which means they failed to understand how the client perceived the brand. They failed to understand that the client had connected so much of the brand to Tropicana with the way the carton was designed. And that's how they picked it off of the shelf. Another incredible lesson for us is inconsistency of our brand colors and design. So you guys know me, I do a lot of direct mail. So we have our magazine that we do for people. So I actually can hold one up here to give you guys kind of a concept of what I'm talking about. So we have a magazine that we do for people, customizable magazine. We have postcards we do for people, email marketing, social media marketing. And one of the things I have learned over the decade plus of doing this is that, wow, it is incredibly important to try to use the same imagery and color when you can on your marketing, especially if you're doing marketing that's more considered to be, I call it lottery style marketing. So like a postcard or an email, people maybe spend a few seconds with that postcard, And so you want to make that few seconds build upon the last few seconds they got last month from you, or last week. What do I mean by that? So if I send you a postcard in the mail, you're probably going to pull it out, glance at it, and toss it. No matter how good I design that postcard, if it doesn't hit you at the exact right time where you're in the buying mode for it's ever on that postcard, what do? You glance at it and you toss it. You're going to see name, colors, maybe the photo, hopefully the photo for a service-based industry. So name, colors, photo. And so you're going to read this headline. You're going to look at the name, the photo, the color, and then you're going to toss it. So that's seconds. But those seconds are a deposit in the brand bank account of that prospect. You're building equity in their mind. So every month, this is why I talk often about frequency in marketing, the consistency, like anything. In sales, you got to be consistent, and working out, you got to be consistent, and building a brand in the mind of the consumer, you have to be consistent. And so what I would tell you is, if every month you're sending a postcard, and every month it's different colors, every month it's even a different headline, every month it's a different picture, you are failing to capitalize on building upon brand equity. You want people to constantly get used to seeing your name, your photo, your colors come through the mail every single day. The same applies to your email, where there's some consistency of what we call in marketing your contact block, your photo, your contact information, the colors, the logo that you use, so you can build that brand equity in the mind of the client. Because when you're doing that, slowly over time, if you're consistent enough, they start to associate those things with you. So when they see that logo, they think of you. So if you were like an Allstate agent or a State Farm agent, right? Yes, they know State Farm, but they'll start associating State Farm with Luke Acree. They'll start associating Allstate with Luke Acree. Your brand eventually over time gets associated with your colors, gets associated with the designs and stuff that you use. We see this in playing out with Tropicana here. They fail to understand that people associated their brand with the colors and the designs they use. Be consistent in that. And then the last exercise I will give you as we wrap up this Monday mindset is, they weren't in touch with their contacts to understand how their clients perceive the brand. They didn't understand the consistency of their brand and the clients. What they also probably failed to do is understand their target audience, because if they understood their target audience, they probably would have done a better redesign and rebrand on their cartons. So my challenge to you today is, do you know who your ideal client is? A great exercise after you consult your clients to understand how they perceive your brand. Sit down, take a piece of paper and a pen, write out, who is my ideal client? Because this is going to help you understand how to actually design your marketing. What do I mean by that? What age is your client? Sit down and write out what we call this, like a profile, a persona of what your client is like. Meaning, are they retired? Are they not retired? Do they have kids? Where do they live? Where do your clients shop? What are they into? Build this persona of a person that you're trying to market to. When you build that persona of a person, like we have a persona, Dan Shanner, as a persona, as one of our clients' personas, to understand who is Dan Shanner, where does this person shop, where do they go online, what sites are they visiting, what is their situation in life, because it helps you speak in your marketing and in your content to where your client is, where your ideal target audience, your ideal prospect is. Most people, when they market, guess where they speak to? They speak to where they're at. So they design to what they like. They do copy to what they want to hear. It's natural. It's all you know. What you want to do is try to design, put yourself in the shoes of your prospect. That's why you want to create this persona and design your card to what that person is going through. Because if you're selling Medicare, and I'm 35 years old selling Medicare, well, it's a different persona than me. So if I write copy that I'm going to engage with, if I do designs that I'm going to engage with, I'm going to miss the boat, and I probably won't get great conversion on my marketing. I want to sit down and write out, well, who's the person that gets Medicare? What are they like? And not only that, if Medicare is so broad and there's so many different pieces of or types of clients I can get in Medicare, what is the type of client that I want to go after Where do they live? What are they into? What are they doing? What do they respond to? And write that down so I can then market to them. Those are some great tips that you can take away from this failure in Tropicana, where they did a rebrand that failed. Ultimately, they saved themselves because they're still around, right? So it teaches you can make mistakes and you can still recover. But the biggest takeaway is they were not in touch with what their brand represented to their ideal target audience, and they never talked to their customers. Don't make that mistake. Understand who your ideal target audience is. Get in touch with your customers and have consistency of brand. Let's have an amazing week and an amazing Monday. Get out there and win for yourself, for your clients, for your family. Let's make it happen. I appreciate you guys.